So welcome Abhishek, Rohan. Good to have you guys here. So what got you all to leave? I mean, you've been a Deloitte guy, you've been a tech person. What made you all come together into doing something like this? And where did the idea emerge? Because you were in real estate,
Yeah.
and you felt this need.
I had a real estate brokerage startup before this, and I'd run it for around 4 years. And during this time, it was essentially a normal brokerage kind of thing wherein we used to basically solicit deals between two parties, the owner and the tenant, or the buyer and the seller, and then finalize it and earn brokerages out of it. And during the course of which I realized that a lot of time what used to happen was we used to get the two parties onto the negotiation table, but then for some reason the parties would not commit on the deal because they always felt that maybe the price that they're getting is not the right price. So the buyer was always a little skeptic that okay, maybe I can get a better price out there, maybe another broker can get me something 20 lakhs lesser, or maybe I can get 10,000 rupees discount on the rent. Or the seller also felt the same way, that maybe I'm getting too undercut by this price and maybe I can get a better price somewhere outside. And when that used to happen, most of the time the deal just goes for a toss, so it's never going to come back again. That's when I realized that there was a big need for such a kind of product, because if I had that data right in front of me, I could have actually shown it to them, and I feel that I could have closed a lot more number of deals than what I did, because anything that I would say or anything that any property broker would actually end up saying to the guy would be always taken with a pinch of salt, because ultimately I am the vested party who's going to earn my brokerages only if the deal goes through. So anything that I say will be taken as if you want your fee, and that's the reason why you're actually cajoling me into taking this decision.
Which is the fact also.
Which is the fact as well. So I
I
can't segregate, and I can't put myself in a different way altogether. So having something like this wherein the two parties can use data, can understand what the last trends have been of the last few transactions, and then take a very informed decision on the spot itself, not procrastinate it, not say that okay, I'll come back and let me just go more into detail and then let's come back. The idea is to basically give you that power to take the decision right there and there itself. So whether the decision is yes or a no is secondary, but at least you have the ability to take the decision at that point of time. So that's where I felt that such a product is definitely required. It wasn't that this data was not available, it was already available, we knew where it was. So we just thought, why not try and get this data out there, put it in a format in which users would actually value this data and be able to take good decisions on the basis of this data.
I think this sort of service should have come in 20 years back. Why are you so late to the market? And why are others not there?
It should have. I mean, I am surprised myself that despite the fact that it's known that this is a very critical aspect.
Especially in a country like India.
Especially in a country like India, and I think
everyone's trying to fool the next guy.
Yeah, everyone's trying to fool the next guy.
Sorry to say that, but that's a fact.
No, it is the truth, and the biggest part is that every asset out there it has a trading price and it has a listing price. And property, which is an asset which has a huge amount of money involved, doesn't have a trading price which is available to the end user to basically make a decision on. So it's a very, I would say, very ironic that it's not happened so far.
Yeah.
And despite the tons of money that got pumped into real estate with housing raising tons of money, common flow raising huge amounts of money, I'm surprised why they didn't go ahead and do it in the first place.
So those guys, what do they do? I mean, primarily, what is it? It's just listing of properties?
Yes, so they are more like a classified kind of an approach. So just how you have classifieds in newspapers wherein you list what you have and then somebody is going to look at it.
Onto the website.
Yeah, so those are online classifieds. So people, when they have something, they list it out there with the hope that somebody who's looking for it will find it there and then connect to them. So they are basically a medium which it's just basically taking the classical classified of newspapers and putting it online. That's the only thing that they do. As of right now, I mean, there are other things that they do, which is some analytics and this thing, but those are more like side products to basically complement the main one.
So PropRates is 2 years old or 1 year?
No, it's actually
less?
1 year. So it's actually less than 1 year because we started off in October 2015.
You've not done any angel funding yet?
We're in the middle of...
Is it self-funded till now?
Yeah, right now it's bootstrapped, we're self-funded. So yeah, we've not raised any angel rounds as of right now, but we're in the middle of an angel round that we are looking to raise. So we already have...
How many people are you employing now?
At this point of time, we have around a couple of interns that are working with us and a full-time employee and the two of us as founders. So it's a very small team that will be able to work on what it is.
So you operate also out of Powai only?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what were the initial obstacles that you found in this? Is it the data mining that you found difficult? What is it, and Where have you reached as of now? Have you already started seeing any business revenue happening, or is that still some time away?
In terms of the obstacles, I think Rohan also would probably say that the
So
scraping was not that difficult.
So the problem is that the data that we have, that the government has,
Yeah.
it's very scrambled. It's not very accurate. So we have to figure out a lot of stuff. For example, let's say there's a building called Mantri Park. Okay.
Yeah.
In Marathi, it's called because the translation happens is when the translation happens that Mantri gets translated to Minister Park.
Oh, that way.
Yeah.
Oh.
All the data, metadata is captured in Marathi, and there is no phonetic translator for Marathi as of now. Only translator is a dictionary-based translator which directly translates to different, dictionary words. So we have to fix that. Plus the area, you don't know what is the size of the apartment. You don't know whether it's a 1 BHK or a 2 BHK.
Some critical aspects are missing
is
from the
it?
metadata.
Is
So
it?
the
Yeah.
BHK is not there.
Not there.
It's not there.
Only
It doesn't
square
get
feet.
captured. Yeah, the square
Yeah,
feet is
even
there.
the
Yeah.
square feet
Is
is
erroneous.
erroneous for renting agreements because it's written by the layman and he does not have enough.
So usually what
understanding
happens is any sale transaction, the stamp duty gets calculated on the basis of the area of the apartment. So that's the reason why your area is very accurately captured because the adjudication is happening there.
Yeah.
But for rental transaction, your stamp duty is
Doesn't
dependent
matter.
on the rental and the deposit. It's not dependent on the area of
Only
the
on the
apartment.
financial metrics.
So which is why there is no thought given behind the value of the area of the apartment which is put in rental transaction, and which is why we figured out a lot of the areas which are mentioned were highly erroneous. And that's a very basic field because any analytics that you'll do will actually use that as the most basic field. So your derivatives such as rent per square feet in a locality will go totally skewed just because the underlying area square footage is wrong in the first place.
So how do you correct that? I mean, you can't go around and measure each place and.
So what
how
we
do-
have done
What do you do
is
about it?
what we have done is we have organically created a building database of 60,000 buildings with floor plans and the apartment unit sizes. And then we use multiple ways to do it. One is the approximation. The other one is basically we go into the agreement and every agreement that is scanned there, we go there, we put it into the cloud, we do a OCR and then take out the noise out of it. In the agreement which is written, we also get a copy of the agreement. We scrape out
So with the transaction metadata that I'm getting, I'm also fetching the actual agreement that gets executed between the two parties. And that agreement is written in English and it has the BHK and the area in the right format. So I'm able to read it from there and then correct whatever error is there in the metadata which I'm basically fetching. So that's how I'm able to rectify the errors in that data right now.
But there is so much transaction happening.
So
How much time it would take you to get into that
So
data?
we
and
have
for
created
each one-
infrastructure which is like on scale. So
Yeah.
it's like a huge infrastructure that we have.
Yeah.
So we have like a cluster of things. Okay, the data comes in. Okay, the agreements come in. Then there is a queue which goes there. The OCRs automatically take it out. But there's a huge amount of computing power which is required to do all of this.
So it's an automated process. It's not a manual
is
process
it?
that we're doing.
Yeah.
It's a totally automated
So
process.
we set up the
You
pipeline.
set up your own
Yeah,
systems and that?
Yes.
That's your value then, greatly.
Yeah.
You need to be careful with that information and the system itself.
Yeah.
Because it will be so easy for somebody to just walk away with that.
Correct.
Especially the employees.
Yeah.
Somebody picks up an employee with all that data and you have a competitor right away.
Yeah. No, so which is why we've structured it in such a way so that
Yeah.
no employee is
Has
aware of the
access.
entire pipeline. So they are only working on a very
So
specific
we have
segment of the
access
pipeline.
control based.
Yeah.
Control based access. So
Yeah.
user based control access.
So it's only me and him who basically can access
The
the
entire
entire thing,
thing.
but others can only access parts and bits and pieces of it. So nobody can get access to the entire pipeline that way.
So do you do a lot of backups of your information because again it's so valuable
Yeah.
that if it is gone someday for any technical reason,
Yeah.
back to square one.
Yeah.
No, what we have,
Yeah.
our whole infrastructure is based on like microservices architecture. Everything gets loaded, backed up automatically. We don't have to worry. So
Yeah,
we
so
use-
you're doing that.
so we have like
Yeah.
the state of the art stuff, Dockerized containers and stuff.
Yeah, I just thought of it as one of the things that can go wrong.
Yeah.
No, so that's definitely
Yeah.
a concern because you've done a lot of processing and all the thing just goes waste one day. So obviously we're very careful about getting so any changes that we do into the code, we first make sure that we back up the entire thing, and the latest backup is before the changes are done. So even if the changes actually don't work out the way we want it to, we can just revert back to the latest, the last version of the
Whatever
copy.
last version.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
So one of the problems we faced was that matching building data to the transaction data, because a lot of buildings have similar names. For example, Sai building, there are hundreds and thousands of Sai buildings. So we created an algorithm to figure out which transaction goes to which Sai building based on a scoring pattern. Based on different parameters, we score. So Sai building, Malad XYZ, right? It goes to the transaction that happened in Sai building Malad. It does not go to this Sai building that is in somewhere else. So we created a algorithm.
So using different parameters of the data, we actually triangulated the position of which building it would be referring to in case if there is a kind of a clash between the building names, that same building names occurring in multiple locations. So then we triangulate the position of the building in a way which is almost to the accuracy of 1 or 2 kilometers here and there, and then we finally plot it out there. So if there are multiple buildings of the same type, that happens.
One of the other parameters that we use, Sai building of different Sai buildings have different ranges of rent or sale data, right? So we try to figure out even whether this should go here or there based on the algorithmic match.
So that's the business side of it. What our viewers are interested, because the people who are looking at this are more than the startups. It is the investors who look at our interviews, because that's what I mean. They pick up leads from that.
Right.
So what is your stage now of investment?
Okay.
So that's what's going to take you forward.
Right. So we're actually at a stage of angel investment. We have a prototype which is ready, a MVP as you will call it. So it's already online on PropRates.com. Anybody can go there and figure out what we've built. So we've actually been able to present the data in a format in which it is very much easy for an end user to basically make a decision. He can search by the building name. He can get to know what are all transactions that have happened in the building. He can click on a particular transaction and drill down to the lowest level, wherein it tells him which apartment number, which unit number, who took it, who bought it, what was the rent, what was the deposit, when did the transaction happen, what was the area of the apartment, and everything that he needs to know about a particular thing. So that is already out there. So I would say what is stopping us from actually putting out the entire Mumbai transaction is the accuracy of our matching. So when I'm saying accuracy of the matching, it's like I said, there are a lot of issues in the data because it's in Marathi, it's in vernacular, there are translation issues, there are issues where the same building appears in multiple locations. So the accuracy of the matching is where I'm actually working on. So the more I enrich my database of buildings and the more value I add into the buildings, I'm able to get a more specific match in that way. So what I'm right now working on is basically mapping the entire Mumbai city, trying to understand which buildings are there, what are the units, what are the configurations, get all those details and then map it right away. So that's where I am. I think given we are able to do that, the entire Mumbai can be mapped in the next month itself. So from the day I actually get everything, just 1 month away that way.
So what stage are you as far as investment is concerned?
So we are in the middle of actually raising a round. We've approached a couple of angel networks that are out there, and we have a soft commitment, I would say, of approximately almost around 60 to 70% of the amount of money that we're trying to raise in this particular round. So that's where we are in terms of the angel round.
So what is the money required for? More people?
Yes, so the money is basically required more on the side of manpower and human resources, because to build the system and to basically scale the system to go to other cities and to maintain the entire infrastructure, you require good developers and good coders who can actually help you keep it in the right shape. So that's where majority of it. So I think out of the budget that we've drawn up, almost around 50 to 55% is into the human resource side of it. The next bigger chunk is the marketing, because obviously to create awareness about that such a product exists, you need to go out there and do it. So we are obviously looking at other smart mechanisms of growth hacking as well, wherein we don't have to really splurge money just to get the awareness going. But you still have to sanction some money just in case you're not able to reach your targets. So we sanctioned some money out of that. So that's almost around another 20-25%. So these two combine around 75%. The remaining are obviously your infrastructure, your offices, your other admin expenses, your hardware assets and everything like that.
So startup funding, as we all know, has in the last 8 months to greatly dried up.
Yeah.
Greatly.
Especially real estate, because after the housing fiasco.
Absolutely, it's like everybody thinks, oh, one housing has gone down, don't touch housing. But they don't understand. Specifically, they are doing completely different things.
Yeah.
And you're adding great value.
Yeah.
But how do you get it across? So really you need to invest.
So initially I think we had a little bit of tough time trying, because we were just going ahead and
Doing your work.
approaching everybody just for this, just because they were an investor.
Yeah.
And we realized that a lot of people wouldn't. It was very difficult for them to understand what was the difference. So for them, the information that I was presenting was also a listing, or it was also just another information about an apartment. So they were very difficult for me to make them understand how it is different from the existing portals which are already out there. But then we basically changed our approach, and we specifically only went to very real estate specific guys. So people who have the domain experience, people who have the domain expertise, who understand why this is a very important product and why is it the need of the hour right now. So we started approaching developers, we started approaching guys who are in the real estate analytic funds, we started approaching real estate private equity fund guys who were there, and that's where we started getting more traction in terms of the investors who started knowing it. So the 2 or 3 individual investors who've committed the amount that I have right now in a soft commitment, I didn't have to explain the idea to them. I mean, the moment I just put the product out in front of them, they knew what it was about, they knew why it is important, and it was more about channeling it into where we want to take it, how we want to take it, where we want to build it, and things of that sort, rather than convincing them why they should be investing in it or why this is an important product to be there in the first place.
Of course, the general euphoria has died down.
Yeah.
And so it's not just housing. It's just that nobody wants to invest now.
Yeah, it's definitely gone. It's gone slow,
very,
but I think
very slow.
It's gone slow. Plus, I think the second part is housing, because housing
Cost.
is the
In
biggest
that particular
cost. So
area,
the real estate as such has been a little touchy point
More,
for a lot of
yeah.
investors. That this is something which has just
Be careful.
burned a lot of money right now, and we don't want to get into something which is right in that way. So yeah, so those are definitely some challenges that are there. A lot of investors obviously want guys from IIT IIMs to basically do it, and that's another thing that you have. So if you're not a IIT IIM grad, then you're again going against the drift in that way to some extent. So those are challenges, but I think given the right product, given the right team, and given the right way to communicate the idea, I think we should be able to get it going.
There are a lot of these, hearing a lot of these major funds, the PEs, who are investing in real estate. I think those were the guys who would understand your business model in a minute. The only
would.
problem there would be that they don't invest so small amounts.
Yeah, so there are multiple issues there. One, they don't invest in such small amounts. Second is if it's a major PE fund or something which is an institutional investor, then the chain of command is very big. So I basically meet an analyst or I meet an associate, then he runs the idea through a senior management, then multiple meetings, and then it gets lost. But when it comes to actual angel investors, I'm able to meet the decision making guy in a minute. So the guy that I'm pitching to is the guy who's going to write the check, and which is a far better position for me to be in, because I'm able to directly convince him about the idea rather than going via a chain of 2 to 3 guys.
There's no doubt about that. So where do you expect that you will be in 5 years? This is a standard question, but still it's very relevant to the investor.
I think, like I said, I mean, I'm kind of trying to figure out multiple models. So we're trying to study a lot of existing models in the US. So there are a lot of things which are happening in the US which have not come in. I think one of my favorites is there are a lot of companies like Redfin, Compass, Realty, which are basically internet first driven brokerages. That is something which has not happened over here. There is no standardized brokerage company which is existing in the market, which is a pan-India kind of a brokerage company. So that is definitely one of the prospects. I think another prospect that Rohan likes is the affiliate marketing one, which you would.
So one of the things is that since we are, whenever you buy a property or rent it, you want to figure out what is the price, right? If we are able to do that correctly and across Mumbai, what will happen is that no matter where you go to figure out your listing, but you would just check in this building what are the last 5 transactions that has happened, and that's what we have created, and we want to be the de facto standard. So if we are able to generate leads out of it, we can just pass it on.
So affiliate marketing is definitely one, because affiliate marketing does not happen again in India to a large extent, because there is no way of tracking whether a lead which I've given to a property broker or to a developer, did it actually get fulfilled or not. Whereas here, because I have the transaction data, I can actually track back that lead. So any lead which starts from my system, goes through a channel and then gets materialized, that again comes back with the transaction history. So I'm able to make sure that if I gave X guy a lead, maybe a broker or maybe a developer, I can charge him a higher fee if on performance marketing basis, rather than charging him just a 500 rupees or $1,000 for just passing on that lead. So affiliate marketing is definitely one, I think, a major aspect that we would be looking into. Other than that, I think, like I said, I mean, for somebody who's looking at a quick exit or things, I think this is a very safe bet because I think, like we discussed before the thing started, that there are a lot of people who would want to acquire this product immediately on an immediate basis because it's something which is not, which need not be proven. So you don't need to prove this idea, or you don't need to prove that the need is exists. The need is definitely there. It's just that nobody's done it so far. So the moment you're able to do it, you can actually get absorbed as a part of a larger company wherein they want to buy you out in that way. So though buyout is not really my focus or my end goal, but it's definitely one of the exit routes that you could consider.
Yeah, I think you're not going to be independent for too long. But the sense I'm getting in this property of yours is that either you'll merge, or you'll be taken over, or you'll get well funded. One of these three things is going to happen soon.
Yeah.
So at present you are based only in Bombay.
Yeah, at present we're based out of Bombay, but like I said, I mean, we have data for Pune as well. So Maharashtra, the bigger cities. So what our idea is to basically get as many top cities as possible. So Bombay, Pune, Hyderabad, Bangalore.
And that's what you need the funding for primarily.
Yeah. So because once you start going outside and to expand geographically, you would need that because ultimately the idea is that it's not just about giving the transaction data. It's about presenting it in a way in which the users in that vicinity want to look at the data in the first place. So if Bangalore needs to be done, then a user from Bangalore, the way he's today looking at the data, the way he wants to read the data and understand it, it needs to be catered to in that exact particular manner. And for that you need some local presence in this thing in order to map the entire city and to basically be able to give the user what he's looking for. So that's where, again, like I said, for scaling the infrastructure and for scaling our reach geographically to basically cater to other cities also, which will definitely be the plan once we've done Mumbai and Pune, is the reason why we would be going for fundraising that way.
So we've already done about 5 or 6 interviews of startups in the last 3 months. I think this is the best startup that I have myself come across, and the best prospects, and it's really grounded, and it's a need which is getting fulfilled. So it's simply a no-brainer. Would you like to talk to our investors, the guys who will be watching this video?
Yeah, I mean, so the thing is that I think if anybody understands the real estate space, then they would know that why this is a very important product to begin with, because I mean, any asset that you see today, it has a listing price and a trading price. Property does not have a trading price which is available to the end users, and property is an asset which involves a huge amount of money upfront. I mean, people, when they want to buy plane tickets, they go across multiple platforms and they try to compare just to save $5,000 or $500. Whereas here you're making a lifetime decision wherein you're probably ending up spending 2 crores. So this is definitely the need of the hour. It's not been done before. It's the first of its kind intelligence tool that we're trying to build out there. So anybody who's interested in knowing more about it can definitely go on PropRates.com and see what the beta product looks like, and then probably get in touch with us. Yeah.
So thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Where's the giveaways?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Give away that.
This is the second one I'm getting.
Why? Okay, there.
The other one which I'd given a panel discussion also.
Okay. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.